Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Chapter 25. We have been going through the reproductive system, and so far we have gone through the male reproductive system, ending with the pathway of the sperm last time. Today we are going to start the female reproductive system. Okay, first off, you will be receiving your very own copy of this image. And yes, you need to know all of the parts except for the vesicouterine pouch and the rectouterine pouch. Those are basically just these little indents right there. Otherwise, yes, you should know their parts. Okay, when we did the male, you started out with an image like this and we talked about the external structures. There are not as many with a female that are external. Um, they are well protected internally. Okay? So when talking about female external reproductive structures, first off, we're going to talk about the clitoris, which is just barely on the outside. The clitoris is kind of the equivalent of the penis. It is made out of the corpus cavernosa tissue, just like part of the penis, and it is what does become erect during sexual arousal for a female. And the part that sticks out from the body is the glans, just like the end of the penis is the glans. Okay, next you have the labia minora. Labia means lips, and minora means small. These are the internal folds right up in here on the outside of the vagina and the urethra. And then you have the labia majora, which are simply the external folds of tissue around the labia minora. So there is a dual fold system here. So there are two labia minora, two labia majora that create basically a protected, enclosed area right here, which is important both for physical protection as well as for protection from germs and things when you're thinking about reproduction, especially since in the female you will have the developing child, unlike in the male. There's not as big a need for protection from pathogens. Okay, the front view, which you don't need to know as much as the side view, is you can see you have the uterus here. The fundus just means the end away from the opening. The opening is at the bottom, the top is solid. And what you can see here are a number of different ligaments that generally aren't talked about, and this is kind of what suspends and holds the female reproductive structures into place. The male is just kind of set in and it has the tissues. The female structures are actually kind of hanging. They're not solidly in there. That is so that there is room as the uterus expands with a child inside. So first what you'll notice is you have the suspensory ligament of the ovary. Okay? What you can't see is that this comes from the abdominal wall, it comes down, and it attaches on the other side to the ovary. So what it is doing is it is suspended or hanging the ovary. The ovary is not solidly in place. It is hanging from the abdominal wall. Okay, and the same thing would be copied on the other side. Then you have the ovarian ligament. The ovarian ligament is the ligament that hangs it or attaches it to the outside of the uterus. This is not a pathway. This is not a tube. It is simply an attachment. Okay, so basically you have the ovary hanging between the uterus and between the abdominal wall. That is how this is here in its location. Now, you can see all these other structures, the fallopian tubes, the uterus itself. What they're all connected by is what is called the broad ligament. Broad as in it is wide, okay? It is what this thing is here that looks like a bat wing, okay? And there'd be another one on the other side. It is ligament tissue that connects the fallopian tubes to the ovarian ligaments, to the uterus, to other ligaments, and it holds it all in place. And in fact, it doesn't really even stop at the uterus. It actually surrounds the uterus and encloses it as well. So it's like everything, you have like these wings on the sides. It goes over and around the uterus, and then you'd have another one on the other side, and it would go around the back as well. So it holds everything in place. Okay, so this whole system really is just kind of hanging there. It is not solidly attached like the male reproductive system is. When we were talking about the males, we talked about spermatogenesis, which is the formation of the sperm. When we're talking about females, we are going to have oogenesis. Do not say oogenesis. Okay, this is oogenesis. This is the beginning of the ovum, okay, or the oocyte, the egg cell. Okay, so the egg is properly known as the ovum, O-V-U-M, ovum. I will probably often say egg because it's easier, but it is the ovum. If you want plural, it would be ova, O-V-A. Okay. Now, oogenesis, the formation of the eggs. The first part of it, notice it is divided up. The first part, what you will see is this happens before birth. In the time period when a female is inside her mother from the ages of about 3 months to 8 months is the beginning part of the process of oogenesis. That is when you have the original oogonia, the kind of stem cell that's going to become the egg, goes through cell division, and it goes and it becomes an oocyte or an egg cell. This is when it goes into the beginning of prophase, that first phase of cell division, and it gets ready for cell division. And at that point, when it is ready to start the process of cell division, everything stops. Okay? So it gets ready for cell division. And then it stops. And that's where it is when a female is born. At the same time, you have these follicular cells that are around the oocyte. These are kind of sort of like the Sertoli cells in a male. Remember, the Sertoli cells are the nurse cells. They take care of the sperm until the sperm enter the egg, basically. However, the follicular cells in this case are going to accumulate materials needed for early development of the embryo, not of the egg cell itself. So in that time period between when the egg is fertilized by the sperm and between when it starts actually getting fertilized by its mother, these follicular cells around the oocyte are going to take care of that embryo. Okay? Um, Now, to give you an idea, we said that the males produce about 1,500 sperm per second. A female will have approximately 200,000 oocytes, and she will be born with them. She does not make any more after birth. We will talk about the second part of oogenesis, what happens and when it happens. Okay, until next time, I will talk to you later.